Welcome. We're going to give everybody just a minute or two to get logged in. Good morning. We were just discussing how much more enjoyable it would be if we were seeing everybody in DC at this point. But live and learn and adjust.
Next year, Sam.
Next year, for sure. All right. Well, looks like we're ready to get started. So I just found out Michele and I were sharing the same quote today, which is going to lead into the themes that we're going to be discussing over the next 2 days. And it's a quote by Socrates. You may have seen it on some of our social media sites this morning, which is the secret to change is to focus all your energy not on fighting the old, but on building the new. And I think that really summarizes a lot about what we're going to talk about over the next few days. I think it's fantastic advice. It's important to have philosophers who can help us summarize complex ideas into concise thoughts. But it's also important to realize that the value or the difference maker is not just in defining the what needs to happen, but it's really the how it comes about that ends up bringing great change. So that it's really the reason I'm most honored and excited to be kicking off the 2021 Desktop Washington Summit today. For those of you who I don't know, I'm Sam Falletta. I'm the chair of the PACE Board of Directors, and I really appreciate you giving us a portion of your valuable time over the next few days. So as I mentioned, we're going to focus not just on the what you need to be thinking about during times of incredible change, but we're also going to be sharing how you can accomplish those changes. More specifically, I'd submit that there's three key areas in accomplishing goals, especially during times of change. The first is visibility. So what's coming? Why is it coming? How is that going to impact myself, my industry, my competitors? Ultimately, you need to see what's coming or what's about to happen before it arrives. Action. So once you know what's coming, it doesn't matter much if you don't do anything about it. So you have to deploy people and resources and strategies and energy and talent. You have to take action to accomplish anything. And then finally, community. So none of us are successful alone. We all depend on our clients, our customers, our partners, our colleagues. We need thought leaders and advice. So there's really 3 steps that we're going to be digging into the how we accomplish change, not just talking about the what change that's coming. So as I mentioned right at the beginning, this is certainly a different summit than we've had in the past. There's pros and cons. We're not all together face to face. There's no hugs. There's no Potomac River cruise. But we also have the luxury of wearing shorts or flip flops, and sometimes you don't get to pull those off in business meetings as well. So we all have to deal a little bit with the pros and cons of the change. We appreciate you making the time to come here virtually. Before we get too far in, I want to say thanks to several of the people who are critical in making this event happen. First, the PACE staff. There were countless hours put into preparation, agenda design, outreach, learning technology, enrollments. So PACE staff, we truly appreciate everything that you've done. Our sponsors, in particular, our Diamond sponsor, New Star, and our Platinum sponsors, Teleperformance and CSG, we truly appreciate the partnership in making this a world-class event. Our board of directors, in particular, the Government Affairs Committee, in addition to full-time jobs, these folks are volunteering countless hours at a time when their day job is probably as hectic as it's ever been. They're committing time to PACE and on behalf of our member community to give us thought leadership and advice and guidance. And certainly you're going to see several of them speaking here today. In the previous PACE ATA board members, staff, and chairs, we truly come to you today standing on the shoulders of giants. Every session, relationship, partnership that we're going to explore today has some root in our past, and that was cultivated by people who have dedicated countless hours, time, energy, and effort to getting us to the spot that we're here today. We've talked a lot about what it takes to get a seat at the table, and through a ton of energy and effort, we are at the table. So we're excited to talk about what that looks like and bring you the information directly from the folks who are making a lot of these decisions. And last but certainly not least, Michele Shuster, PACE's General Counsel, and my co-host to kick us off. Michele is as strong an advocate as we have in this industry, not to mention a ton of fun, and I'm flattered to be sharing the opening with her. So with that said, welcome. Thank you all for being here. I'll turn it over to Michele to talk specifically about what we're going to get into over the next few days.
Sam, thank you so much. And it's certainly a pleasure to be here with all of you today.
Michele, you
just got muted, Michele.
There we go. Let's try that again. Sam, I just paid you a whole bunch of compliments that I won't repeat. I'll tell you about them later, but it's certainly a pleasure to be here with all of you today. And it is quite ironic that Sam and I did pick the exact same quote to start our speeches today. And it really does say a lot to what PACE has been able to do by the efforts it's continued to exert over the past year since our last Washington summit, but also how we have been so focused not only on where the industry has been, where we all are today, but primarily on where we're going to be in the future, because we are in an industry that is experiencing dramatic change right now. And that's what the next 2 days of the PACE Washington Leadership Summit desktop version is all about, leveraging that change for success. And we have quite an agenda of experts that will be with us over the next 2 days to assist us on that journey. And so if I can just take a minute here to say that
Michele, I think you've muted again.
all right, our new media technology is not working well for me today. Probably should have picked something else for the maiden voyage. But anyway, to say that, over the last 10 years of being general counsel, I've had the great pleasure of working with so many different folks that I have learned so many things from. And over those 10 years, we have worked hard to be an impactful voice for the contact center and customer engagement industry. We've brought that voice to lawmakers, regulators, state AGs, the FTC, the FCC, the CFPB, other associations, consumer advocates, state and federal courts, and most recently, the U.S. Supreme Court with the successful appeal in the Facebook decision. We have learned through experience, and we have chosen our battles carefully to maximize our impact. Through these last 10 years, I've learned a lot from all of you, and for that, I am very thankful. One of the most important things I've learned is that to be impactful, we must have a seat at the proverbial table where those decisions are made. And that may be in the federal or state office buildings, that may be at a business's boardroom, but it's so important that we're there. And because of PACE's efforts, PACE frequently gets a seat at that table. PACE has and will continue to improve every day so that that never changes. Those efforts will be showcased over the next 2 days. We'll invite you to learn from what we have learned, what has happened over the past year, and what will likely happen in the years to come. We filled the agenda with topics that will give you necessary and practical guidance to leverage change for success in your own businesses and jobs. And to that end, I'd like to preview the sessions that you'll be invited to over the next 2 days. We have 3 fabulous general sessions. The first will be immediately following this, which is Compliance is from Mars, Sales is from Venus. We have a great panel of industry leaders and company leaders that will be providing that session. Tomorrow, we're focusing on a very important topic, which is cultural diversity and diversity within our businesses. We'll have Dr. Rhonda Knight, who will be joining us to give that presentation. And then we'll conclude with a general session from the Industry Traceback Group, which will preview the next frontier of call compliance. We'll have two tracks that will also be proceeding over the next 2 days, one for compliance and one for sales and operations. Today, for our compliance tracks, we'll start at 1 o'clock, where I'll be doing my annual interview with Lois Greisman, which I always look forward to. And she'll preview for us what the FTC's priorities are over the next year, and also where they've been in the past year. We'll talk about the impact of the Facebook appeal that was in the U.S. Supreme Court, how that has affected the definition of ATDS and how TCPA litigation will proceed in the future. Also, we have two of the premier litigators in the TCPA world, with Eric Troutman and Christine Riley, that will join us at 3:50 today. Also, managing compliance laws and emerging state privacy laws today at 1:45. On the sales and operations side, at 1 o'clock, we'll talk about preserving through change, preparedness, recovery, and sustainability. At 1:45, we'll talk about how compliance sells, how to land and keep clients. At 3 o'clock, we have a session on business care for this self-regulatory organization. Boy, if you guys can make this one so critical. PACE has championed a self-regulatory organizations for, going on 13 years now. The companies that have gone through that process have found it so valuable and have also not run into regulatory challenges as a result of becoming SRO accredited. Also, we'll have a technology session at 3:15 with the nuances of technology. Tomorrow, which is always a highlight for me for the PACE Washington Summit, we'll have the Compliance Officers Forum live. We'll have the Government Affairs Group and all of the compliance officers joining us to update you on the latest in state and federal regulatory changes and all the hot topics in compliance. I can't miss for the Washington Summit. We'll also give an update on employment law. There have been so many challenges that employers have faced through COVID. So we'll be talking about some of those topics. We'll also talk about Stir Shaken and how not learning about Stir Shaken and implementing it will put your business at risk. And then lastly, we'll have an FTC Battle Scars session, which is lessons learned from a call center expert. Also for sales and operations at 1 o'clock on Wednesday, preparing for compliance office audits, save money and your sanity. On Wednesday at 3:30, we have leading through change with Britt and Grace. And then at 4:30, contact center trends of yesterday, today, and tomorrow. So as you can tell, we have lots of sessions that are going to help you leverage change for success. And we at PACE look forward to being part of that journey with you and being that endearing voice of the industry for regulators and also in your own boardrooms. So I hope you have a great conference. I'll see you at 1 o'clock for my session with Lois Greisman. That's also a can't miss session. And from here, I'll turn it over to our next panel, which is going to be talking about sales being from Mars and from compliance being from Mars, sales being from Venus.